Coming up on This Week in Radio Tech, we're live at the CCBE, that's the Central Canadian Broadcast Engineers in Toronto, Canada. I'm here with Mike Ridley. We got a whole host of guests, and I can't wait. You got to hear what Mike has to say. It's coming up at the end of the show, so you'll have to watch the whole thing. It's coming up next on TWiRT.
This Week in Radio Tech is brought to you by Broadcasters General Store with outstanding service, savings, and support. Online at bgs.cc. By Broadcast Bionics with the Bionic Studio, including talk show control, social media, and visual radio. Broadcast Bionics brings exceptional audience engagement to radio and TV. By Angry Audio. Audio problems disappear when you get angry at angryaudio.com. By Nautel, worry-free transmission you can count on with outstanding control, reliability, efficiencies, and Nautel's unmatched 24/7 customer support. Online at nautel.com. And by Max Connect Wireless, prioritized high-speed internet service designed for transmitter sites and remote broadcasts.
Hey, welcome into This Week in Radio Tech, the show where we talk about everything from the microphone to the light bulb at the top of the tower. I'm Kirk Harnack, your host. Chris Tarr may be along in a little bit. Not sure if he's going to be here or not. We've got a nice surprise for you about Chris. I think he's aware of it. Maybe he's embarrassed. Maybe that's why he's not here yet. We'll see. Anyway, that's a surprise that's coming up a little bit later in the show. I'm in Toronto. I'm at the Kingsbridge Conference Center. Is that what they call this thing?
Kingbridge.
Kingbridge.
Yeah.
Kingbridge Conference Center. Only one king, not two. Kingbridge Conference Center, just north of Toronto, Canada. So I got up at 3 o'clock this morning in Nashville, brushed my teeth, got to the airport, and flew to Atlanta because they don't fly apparently to Toronto from Nashville, or it costs more money. And anyway, here I am. Glad to be here at the CCBE. And as my guests, well, I've got a couple of guys here who are going to tell us about what CCBE is. And it's not the Central Canadian Bakers Extravaganza. No, it's something much better. Hi,
Hi.
You are Sean Craig. Hi, Sean.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. And Jim
Manili.
Manili. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Does everybody have a problem with your name or just me? It's just me. Right?
No, I think everybody
Oh,
does.
okay. I keep wanting to call you Minely, and that is not it. Jim Manili. Jim Manili's here, too. He's the papers chair. He's in charge of all the papers, every paper that there is.
Well, thanks for having us. I'm a big fan of the channel.
Well, thank you. Thanks for saying your bonus will be coming along later. So, Sean Craig, you're the president of CCBE.
Correct. Yeah, I took over in January of this year.
Uh-huh.
CCBE is the Association of Central Canada Broadcast Engineers.
Uh-huh.
So we're an association of broadcast engineers on the eastern half of Canada.
Yeah.
We have a sister association for the western half of Canada, which I'm sure you've talked about in other videos that you've created for the channel.
It's called WABI, right?
Exactly. They call it WABI. It's WABE, not WABBY.
Okay. Right.
And they have a representative here with us this year, as they always do, and I will be attending their conference next month. It's just a gathering of engineers. It gives us a chance to network and learn some new technologies and meet with industry vendors. Talk with the people that sell us all this wonderful product that we use in our industry. So
We're going to talk to Jim in a few minutes about the speaker selection, how that works to best serve and educate your members. And it's been a few years since I've been here, and it's, first of all, you have this conference in a beautiful location. Let's talk about that for just a minute. What is this conference center that we're at?
Yeah, so the Kingbridge Conference Center in King City, Ontario, is a beautiful. I don't even know how many acres. It's
at least 10.
It's much more than that. It's probably closer to 100. But it's surrounded by treed areas and walking trails, and it's really it gives you an opportunity to relax. There's like a swimming pool and exercise facilities and for wellness. You know what I mean? For overall wellness, it's a great opportunity for those of us in the industry that work so hard throughout the year and don't often get a chance to relax.
Well, from my perspective, and I go to a number of shows every year, and over 24 years with Telos Alliance, I've been to a lot of shows. This is a really comfortable place. and you can tell that the engineers here, I mean, maybe it's just because they're Canadian, I don't know, but the engineers here are excited, enthused, and relaxed at the same time to be among their colleagues.
Yeah, it's really nice to be with people that speak the same language as you.
Yes.
You know, like
Yes.
we're all techs, so we all speak tech, and
Uh-huh.
like we're used to being in an environment where we have to uh, speak human instead of speaking tech,
Yeah.
so that everybody understands what we're talking about. But here we can, speak the way we all speak. Like we can talk about technologies in a way that would other people's eyes would just gloss
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, your colleague here in CCBE is Jim Manili. Jim Manili. Jim, I'm rather than reach across. Oh, okay. Go ahead and do here. That's good. All right. So, Jim, you are the paper's chair now. Tell me what that means, because I was honored to be selected to deliver a paper tomorrow.
That's right. And basically, it's a matter of if you want to do a paper on a subject that you have a lot of knowledge about, that you want to show and teach other engineers, we're more than welcome to have you. It doesn't matter if it's TV, radio, anything to do with digital and TV, anything to do with digital and radio, any kind of broadcasting. And we've got a lot of different papers this year than we've had in the past. We've got a lot of guys that actually are working with TV. We
Mhm.
didn't have a lot of TV papers in the last couple of years, so we've got more this year.
So your organization obviously includes TV engineers.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I'm actually a TV engineer. I started as a TV engineer.
Oh.
I work for Dougal Media. I've got 2 TV stations, 4 radio stations. We've got digital print. We've got digital website. We've even got a paper.
Now, one of my colleagues, whose name is Larry Schindel, Larry's going to join us a bit later. Larry gave a paper this morning, a talk about multi-channel sound and
right.
what's happening with like Next Gen and ATSC3.
Right.
Did you learn anything from that, or did you know everything already?
No, there was a lot of stuff in there that I was not aware of, and that's one of the reasons I'm here, because of guys like Larry who come in and say, hey, did you guys know? And he'll tell you everything you need to know about it.
Now, we're going to preview a little bit what's coming up later in this show, This Week in Radio Tech. You had a rather interesting display this morning. Kind of, I don't know. There certainly was an ode to engineers in the CCBE, right?
Definitely.
There was some
Yeah.
singing going on. Not that the engineers were singing.
No. It was a little bit of a situation, and yeah, it turned out great. But
Well, we're going to have Charlie. You didn't generate that. Charlie Toner. He's going to be on in just a minute. This one of those songs was. Yeah. We're going to have him on in just a little bit. Yeah. All right. There's going to be a song about Charlie Toner. I'm not sure. I don't know if we're going to play that song or not. But
there was 4 songs about Charlie
What?
Toner. Yeah,
Oh
there
my
was a
God.
reggae one, there was a rock one. It was and it's great how it all turned out and how it started. And Charlie will tell you all about it.
let me ask both of you this question and answer how you like. When I come to this conference, oh my goodness, you have engineers who are real professionals at what they do, and I see people who just seem really qualified and willing to share and willing to learn. Jim, in the hallway, you talked to me. You kind of gave a reason or two why this this conference seems to be, I don't know, really effective for everybody.
Yeah, it's you know what it is. There's a certain passion with engineers, and especially for this type of broadcasting. The work that we do. We don't just sit back and look at things and expect them to start working. We actually go hands on and dig in. And you can use all kinds of analogies, but it's the passion that keeps these engineers going. I mean, some of these guys, I've been in it for 40 years. I just talking to a gentleman that was in it for 51 years. We don't do this because it's a moneymaker. We do this because it's something that we love.
Well, we got several engineers waiting in line who are passionate about what they do. Anything else you want to say about CCBE? Sean?
No, we look forward to getting the word out and getting more people out next year. We're hoping for an earlier date next year, and maybe that'll help get the people here that aren't out at the cottage right now. And other than that, yeah, it's been a great conference so far, and I'm sure it's going to be great right through to the end, just as it is every year.
Well, I know that everybody's looking forward to a year of your leadership and seeing this thing through next year as well. Jim, any last thought? No.
just keep on engineering.
Yeah.
It's,
You said something about a bug going across the
Oh,
floor. What does an
yeah.
engineer do to a
well,
bug?
see, that's the thing. Most people would look at a bug going across the floor and watch it and go, "Yeah, somebody else will take care of that." An engineer will actually step on it and say, "No, get out of here.
That's right. That's right.
Fix the problem."
John, thank you so much. Appreciate
you.
appreciate being here. Jim,
Sure,
thank you very much. I look forward to speaking tomorrow.
Definitely.
And thank you
We're
for
looking forward to it.
thanks
Yeah.
for selecting me.
Definitely.
I might have a dad joke. Who's that in competition with?
You
Who's-
can have as many
Harry
bad
Oh,
jokes as you want. You got to beat out Harry. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Hey guys, our show. Let's make room for Charlie here. And Charlie, I'm real quick going to talk about Nautel and this HD radio test drive that they're offering.
Yep.
Do you know anything about Nautel?
Yeah, I think I might have a few Nautel transmitters kicking
Really?
around. We've got 4 HD sites. 3 of them are all running Nautels.
Okay. Have you been running HD a long time, or is this a new thing, or what?
No, it's been a while. We were actually one of the first Canadian stations or Canadian radio broadcast groups that went HD. I'm trying to think now.
What year was that?
Yeah, it had to be more than 10 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm thinking somewhere between 12 and 15 years.
Now, for years, I've
12
helped
years.
stations put audio processing on their FM and their HD1 to get those to be compatible,
Yep.
and then separately for the HD2 or HD3. But just 1 year ago, almost now, 1 year ago, I put my first HD on the air with a Nautel transmitter.
And it's a lot of fun.
It actually was, because we had to use that Multicast Plus box
Yeah.
that Nautel has.
Which, that could be virtualized into a cloud.
Well, actually, that's been done.
I know it has.
Yeah, Telos and Omnia worked with Nautel to do a demo project of that.
That's correct. And actually, that was a conversation I had 3 years ago at NAB with Nautel because I was pushing cloud. And actually, 2 years ago, we did a cloud. We have our own corporate cloud.
Okay.
And we are running all of our stations run in the cloud, all 8 stations.
So as long as we're actually doing a Nautel ad, which is what this is, I'm sorry
Yeah.
you walked into an Nautel ad.
Yeah.
They are doing, first of all, they're doing an HD radio test drive. So if you want to try HD radio in your market, on your stations, there is less to buy now than there was before. And
It's a lot cheaper.
contact your Nautel rep. You got to get a Ubiquity, an Xperi license, and have some programming to put on.
And I believe you can get a test period license from Xperi just to see if this is going to work for you.
Yeah. It helps put you on a par with those satellite and streaming services that put pictures on your
Far
dash.
better than PAR.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. It's uncompressed audio. It sounds so much better than satellite radio.
Well, yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
It is so much better. I mean, the tinniness, once you listen to HD radio and then you go to listen to satellite radio, it's like,
you're right.
don't even talk to me about that.
I've only recently got satellite radio in a car because I bought a used car that had it turned on.
Yep.
And yeah, you're right. HD radio sounds much better than anything I've heard.
It's uncompressed and it's absolutely just a wonderful sound. And look, we're putting other products on that. I mean, we've got a jazz on our HD2, we've got oldies on our HD3, and we have an HD4. We haven't decided what we could use, but an example could be is if you're in a major market, you could throw live traffic updates to the cars with traffic into with the GPS and reroute yourself around traffic issues in real time.
Let me suggest for a format, it would be CDJR, which would be Canadian Dad Joke Radio. All right.
That's HD4. Yeah, we'll do that.
Thanks, Nautel, for sponsoring This Week in Radio Tech. Contact your Nautel rep for more information on the HD radio test drive. I'm Kirk Harnack at the CCBE. We're talking to Charlie Toner. Your name came up earlier, Charlie. Something about a song.
A song. We were using, what was it called? Suno.
Suno.com.
Suno.com. Or Anthony was using Suno.com. And I've known Anthony from way back actually when we did a show here. I did it with Chris Tobin on SNMP.
Yes,
in broadcast.
Right. Yeah.
And so I know Anthony from way back in those days because he took the SNMP course that we had here at a CCBE conference, a hands-on lab.
Okay.
So it goes back to that. But yes, he was asking for engineers to shout out their problems with printers. I mean, who does not have a problem with a printer at some point in their network? They're the bane of our
Well,
existence.
usually it's a salesperson. I pushed print 15 times and nothing happened.
Yes, and the queue is jammed, whatever else, and everybody's calling out, "What problems are you having?" Well, my last name is Toner.
Toner. Charlie
So
Toner.
that made Anthony call the song Charlie Toner, and it was all about printer problems.
Oh my
So
gosh. Well, as
I
part
can never outrun my last name.
as part of our fun today, in a segment, a little bit in a little bit, we're going to hear some AI generated music that was inspired. Well, some of it was done by Anthony Kazoob, and one of the songs I just did this afternoon. So,
Oh, that ought
yeah.
to be good.
yeah, you get this cool feeling when you enter a good prompt and you get back a song. Oh my gosh! Now, should I feel proud? I didn't write that song.
No, but it was fun.
So yeah.
But it does outline exactly how AI is changing our industry, and in some aspects of it, I mean, if you really want to look at AI, we've been using AI in broadcasting for probably 30 plus years. Our Davicom and Burke systems that have been making decisions at our transmitter sites on our behalf,
Yeah.
that is a type of AI.
Yeah.
It's gone through a lot of progression since then, and we're into uncharted territory with these new progressions that are coming up now.
Certainly are. I guess you're right. We've taken the good old if then else type of statements and turned them into having an enormous amount of information available to them,
Yeah.
and able to help them understand directions. Write me a song about the legendary engineer Chris Tarr and how he travels Wisconsin in his car and builds studios and fixes transmitters, and everybody loves him. So I gave a prompt like that, and you're going to hear the result coming up. The legend of Chris Tarr. Yeah. So, hey, Charlie, anything else? You're VP of this organization, aren't
Yes, I am.
you? What does that mean for everybody?
I have no idea. No, like every other VP.
Like every-
I do what? Basically, I'm the problem solver at a conference. I take on what projects need to be done and work as a group. I mean, we do have bylaws in place that you have to be doing another job within the executive for at least 2 years before you can be VP, and to be president, you have to be at least 4 years, and they're 2-year terms, so it's kind of a progression.
Ladies and gentlemen, the man who inspired a song written and performed just this morning. And I don't think we have that one to play. I'm sorry, but
No,
we got
that's
some other
fine.
ones. Charlie, good to talk to you. Thank you very much. And we got a gentleman, Corey, standing by, waiting in the wings. Hey, it's Kirk Harnack here at the CCBE in Toronto, Canada. It's so good to go to these engineering conferences, and no matter where you are in the U.S. or in Canada or some other country, try to go to your engineering conference that's somewhere near you. In the U.S., the SBE puts on a number of their Ennis workshops, and those are good to go to. You get to meet a lot of other engineers, and if you're in Canada, and I'm sure they'd let you come even if you weren't Canadian, just get a passport, come on in. They're very friendly here. They have Tim Hortons, and so hey, Corey, hi.
How are you?
You're with Dielectric. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to meet you.
And you're living in what city?
I live in Harrison, Maine.
Harrison, Maine.
Factories in Raymond, Maine.
That's right, Raymond.
About 20 minutes from the
I
factory.
kept wanting to say Bangor, Maine, but that's our friends at Nautel.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So Dielectric. Okay, I'm going to begin by giving the impression that many engineers had. Dielectric, I've seen plenty of older FM antennas that were dielectric. Then I really associated dielectric with TV antennas. I knew a lot of TV stations that had them. Then a few years ago, I remember in the news that a U.S. broadcaster, Sinclair, a television station group owner, bought Dielectric.
Yeah.
Be-
2013.
I think it was self-serving, that they wanted continued service and parts, right?
Correct. They basically all their networks were dielectric equipment, and they wanted to be able to make sure that it stayed that way.
But Dielectric is certainly still in the FM antenna business.
Yes, we actually announced an agreement in the U.S. that we are partnered with SCMS with all of our
Okay.
FM lines at NAB.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. So is SCMS your exclusive dealer in the U.S.?
In the U.S., yes.
Okay.
In Canada, we go direct, and we're trying to work with some other distributors.
What can you tell me about some of the classic engineering that has gone into and is still part of the dielectric design? Are there some things that set dielectric FM antennas apart?
Yeah, I mean, it's still the RCA product line,
Right.
but now it has a lot of new spin on it with a lot of the technology we've gained over TV. And we add that to our FM portfolio. It's RF all the time, is what we say in Raymond.
That's what you guys do.
That's right.
RF all the time. Well, now thinking about TV for a minute, and there are plenty of TV engineers here at CCBE. I know in the U.S., there was a lot of shakeup, and I guess there's still things moving around with repack and then with Lighthouse ATSC3 stations. What is happening either in Canada or the U.S. with regard to your antenna lines? What's kind of moving and shaking at this point?
Well, they just did a refiling in the U.S. 169 stations filed for a new channel for the low power market, and then with the high power, it's still people moving from VHF to UHF, trying to get better penetration.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
And then adding VPOL to their antennas for ATSC3.
Oh, okay. So is that circular or just
Elliptical.
elliptical pole?
Elliptical. So usually 70-30 split.
Yeah. Interesting. So dielectric, I've always thought of it as being based on, classic designs from RCA, and then you've taken what you learn over the years for ruggedness, longevity, other kinds of improvements, and build that in.
Exactly. And then on the FM side, we learned a lot with HFSS during repack.
Oh, okay.
We actually petitioned the FCC and was one of the reasons the rule changed. You don't have to do quarter scale pattern studies. You can actually do it with simulation software.
Okay.
Yeah.
And certainly dielectric does that. Makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
So if you're in the U.S., which is probably where the most of TWiRT viewers and listeners are, SCMS would be the people to talk to, right?
Yeah, SCMS, you can ask them for a quote and they'll get you a quote for dielectric equipment.
Awesome. Corey, it's good to run into you here.
Yeah, thank
All
you.
right, take care.
You too.
That's Corey Edwards. He's with Dielectric here at the CCBE. Hey, we're going to be right back and talk to a couple other, there's some people waiting in the wings, making me nervous. We're going to hear from Broadcast Bionics, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to the Bionic Studio. The Bionic Studio brings all audience interaction to the fingertips of a production team in radio, TV, and podcast. Our workflow-led system is working 24/7 around the world for small broadcasters and national and international networks. Our telephony module, Bionic Talk Show, allows cost-effective centralization, remote operation, scalability, and resilience across an entire network of stations, but at the same time is used in single-studio self-op environments. Social media curation and activity is now considered a broadcast-critical part of programming. Bionic Social means the studio isn't overwhelmed with a wall of interaction from an ever-growing number of social platforms. We combine SMS, MMS, and email together with a speech-to-text service for listeners using smart speakers. We enable studio teams to curate, filter, and display all platforms in one place, and post text, images, and video content to multiple platforms in one operation. Effortless collection of video content with Bionic Director has helped position some of the world's most successful stations as leaders in viral content, generating appointments to listen and free marketing via retweets and shares. Bionic Contest enables end-to-end tracking of on-air competitions, live reads, and prizes. These could be on-air contests, automated SMS entry, or online. Anywhere, and Skype TX for Radio brings high-quality audio and video contribution into the studio with ease. No need for dedicated PCs to run different applications. Everything is controlled within the Bionic Studio UI, and incoming connections are visible to users along with all other platforms. Our codec integration enables connection, algorithm configuration, and directory to a wide range of IP and ISDN codecs. The Bionic Studio, a unique suite of products designed to enable your talent to work smarter.
Thanks a lot to Broadcast Bionics and the Bionic Studio and all the things that they make. So cool. Check them out wherever you can. They're sold at a lot of different dealers all around the world. And I use some of their stuff myself. Love it. Thanks a lot, Broadcast Bionics. I'm Kirk Harnack. We're here in Toronto, Canada, just north of the city. We're out in the countryside. It's beautiful here. And we're at the CCBE, the Central Canadian Broadcast Engineers Conference, where a lot of engineering talk is going on. Papers are being presented, but also equipment is on display so that engineers can come touch and feel and taste and lick, to their, no, maybe not taste and lick. Hi, Tyler.
I got to come up with something to say to that, don't I? I'm thinking of our cherry flavored red in our logo. How about that? It's cherry.
This is Tyler Everett. He's the chief CEO, president, and potentate at Pippin Technical, or PTS.
PTS, yes, thank you, and ptsgear.com.
PTSgear.com. You guys make some cool things that you've designed.
We are getting into making things. Yeah, I love stuff. I know a lot of the companies we do business with, they do virtualization, and we do tons of software, and it's amazing stuff, and I'd never take away from it. I just grew up loving things. I love stuff, and so yes, we found ourselves making things just because I like stuff.
One of the things that I actually talk about in my paper talks is because the idea of containerization of software is becoming mainstream,
Yes.
and virtualization of broadcast functionalities becoming mainstream. So much so that different companies are making platforms to host virtualized broadcast products. And people wouldn't be jumping on this bandwagon unless there was something to it. You guys, my employer, Telos, we have something called the AP3000. We'll put your software on it for you if you like, or you can put it on your own server. But you guys have come up with a beautiful little product.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, you exactly hit the nail on the head. The software is great. You guys build a great software. We wanted to make it easier for people because virtualization, even when we started, we were kind of like learning as we go. So we realized others are going to have that same learning curve. How can we shorten that and get people up and running quickly?
Yeah.
And that's where XR1 came in. So it's a computing appliance is what I like to call it. So it is a computer, but to take away the fear factor of it, we just call it a computing appliance. We use it for many different things. But one of the things that we use it for are the virtual products that the Telos Alliance makes, whether it's a VXS or a Zephyr Connect or Altus. We can do all of those things on XR1 and then take all the guesswork out of it on the customer end. They just have to tell us what they want. They'll get a box that they can put in their rack, and a few minutes later, they're doing what that product needs to do for them.
Do I understand that it's a one rack unit computer or computing appliance? Is it fanless?
Fanless, totally quiet, no moving parts whatsoever.
Okay, so Telos Alliance makes a similar box, but ours has fans in it, and so it's meant to go in the rack room, easy to install, but in the rack room. Yours could go in the studio.
And that's because ours is intended to be used in many different ways with many different products, many different ideas. We use it as an alert box. Some people use it as a router or a logger or any kind of different, even just a web browsing machine. So it can be used for many different things. One of them is all of the virtualization.
Yeah.
So we needed a product that we wanted to be standardized and work well across many different platforms, including in the studio. And so fanless was very high on the list. It had to be dead silent.
It looks like somebody's won the jackpot back here. Is this a casino? What's going on? You've got something that is called the Aurora.
DPI no.
Whoa.
No.
GPI
no.
GPI no. Oh, okay. What does that mean? What does GPI know?
Axie has done such a great job with building an amazing protocol. I mean, it works really well. It's very elegant. One area where we felt we could make a little more elegance happen was on the GPIO side.
Okay.
You guys make a great product called the GPIO X node, but we thought, well, why would you buy a GPIO X node to fire maybe a light for when the phone rings, or a light when you need to go on the air, or your on-air light? So we are building and have made and are now available a line of products that basically plugs directly into your Ethernet switch, has a embedded web page that you can go to, type in the IP address, add a couple channel numbers, and it'll do a job for you. So in the case of the beacon, when the VX phone rings, that light will flash. One cable, PoE, runs over PoE, very easy to set up. Then we have Aurora, which is the one with the casino lighting. And Aurora controls up to 4 of the Mika boom lights the Mika booms, and up to 5 on the stack, which is what we're seeing here.
Okay.
That's the stack. So we can have up to those 9 lights on one Aurora box, which just plugs directly into an Ethernet switch. Program what you want it to do. Each light can have an infinite number of things happening at different priority levels, which is really important. And then you have all these different devices. We're adding flash patterns because we have PWM in there, so you can have it flash in a different way for different things. So you might have a blue light that says you're off the air. Maybe the AM flashes slowly because it has fewer listeners, and then the FM flashes really fast because this is a big deal. But these are the kinds of things that we can do with Aurora. And again, you just plug it in, program it up, and away you go.
So you could take a light if you're talking to the program director, or if that light flashes, but then at the same time or just after the GM dials in, you get a more urgent flashing of the light that the GM is on the
Sure, or you could have the PD talking to you or hitting,
Yeah.
and then the GM says, "I want to talk to you," and it starts flashing faster because the GM's higher up the line, right? So you set it up to do whatever you want. We just provide the tool. And one of the other neat things about Aurora, I don't know if we can see it on the frame or not, but that is the broadcast industry's first e-paper product. So, and you know how everybody they take a label maker to put their IP address on the front because they need to know what IP address it is.
Right.
We took that a step further. You program it in, and then even if you unplug the power, that IP address will stay on the front panel for months and months.
So it's got it's got an electronic label on the front,
Yes.
but it's e-paper.
It's e-paper.
Oh
So
my
you
gosh.
program what it says,
How cool is that?
and it stays that way even if you throw it in a box and leave it on your desk for a month or two.
Wow. Have you tried that?
Yeah, I've seen them all over the place,
Okay.
and they're just sitting there and they're lit up like they're on. It's kind of neat. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
The box's history is right there for everyone to see.
That's right. Yeah, and so we have a bunch of different backgrounds and stuff, but yeah, it's nice stuff.
Tyler, thanks for your time. I really appreciate you.
Sir,
I want to talk to you
appreciate
more on another show, and we'll get a couple more things talked about. Anthony Kazub, though, is here, and this is kind of, it's kind of a highlight, actually. I mean,
Thanks for letting me go ahead of him because I don't want to follow up to that.
you don't
guy.
want to follow
No
Anthony.
way.
All right, Tyler, thanks again. I appreciate you,
All
man.
right, thank you.
I'll see you at dinner. All right. Hey, it's Kirk Harnack this week in Radio Tech. Anthony Kazub is here. Come on in, Anthony. Don't make me chase you down. Good to see you.
Hey, cheers. Good to see you too. How you doing, Kirk?
So I wasn't here. I was on a plane getting here,
Okay.
and I understand that all the excitement happened while I was en route here.
They've told me that I'm a hard act to follow, so they put me first. Yeah. I did a conversation about artificial intelligence in the audio industry. Get it? AI, audio industry.
Well, we're facing some interesting challenges about political advertising concerning AI.
I think everything about AI is concerning, even how people use the word AI.
Oh, well,
people don't know which AI they're talking about. Is it generative AI? Is it machine learning? Is
Right.
it what is AI? And it's it's almost a 60-year-old word that we still don't know how to use properly. So it's kind of a tricky thing. But yeah, it was a good little conversation, little talk about how the audio industry has been using AI for a long time. We do noise reduction, we talk about, we do impulse responses.
Right.
We do, forensic audio. And there's a lot of different applications for AI.
I think most every high-end cell phone has, or at least for a while, there was a company called Audience
Okay.
that made a chip that went into multi-microphone cell phones,
Okay.
the higher end ones, that actually this chip would determine what is noise and what is human speech,
Yeah.
no matter what language it was in.
Yeah.
And it would clarify all that.
Totally.
And I've just been amazed, but that's been around for 10 years or more.
A long time, probably.
Yeah.
But there's also, on a cell phone, people think that the cell phone's always listening to me. Right?
Yeah.
It's always listening to me.
Yeah.
But in reality, no. It's just waiting for this little. They call them wake words.
Right.
So it's and why isn't it listening to you all the time? Battery power.
Well, yeah.
So they have these little wake words inside them that wake up when they say, "Hey Google," or "Okay Google," or "Hey Alexa." I probably just made a whole bunch of people's homes
Sure.
wake up. But those types of things are there. Those wake words are there. And now I train my voice. Only my voice activates my phone. Only my wife's voice activates her phone.
Yeah.
So now there's like a layer of protection built into your phone. So a lot of those things are software, but then they became hardware. But we've had auto mixers and mixing consoles. Your Dan Dugans. You have your mix assists.
Right.
You auto mix.
Right.
But is it automatic mix or is it autonomous mix?
Okay.
Right. So is it
Okay.
with human intervention or without human intervention?
We could spend a whole show,
Okay.
and we will in 2 weeks,
Oh boy.
on this topic.
Okay.
Let's wet everyone's whistle with Suncast is going to play
You
some
got a song?
audio.
You got a song?
He's got
Okay.
something queued up. I don't know which one. Suncast, hit it, and then we'll talk about it.
We talk over it.
Down King City, where the signals flow, radio waves dancing, making music glow, transmitters humming, antenna standing tall, STLs are linking. Broadcasts
STLs are
never
linking.
fall.
Is there a chorus here?
CCBE, we gather.
Oh my gosh.
Sharing all we know. From digital to IP, our networks
Digital
grow.
light wave. It's a digital candle.
All right, Suncast, go ahead and fade it down there. Now that guy, that wasn't in Nashville. That wasn't recorded in
No,
Nashville.
that was 100% GPT. Well, not GPT generated. There's a website, a group called Suno, SUNO.com. Check it out.
Okay.
So what that was an example of me prompting a song. I said, okay,
Right.
write me a country song about CCBE, the Canadian Broadcasting Union. Talk about STLs and transmitters and amplifiers and whatever. And then it just generated the song for me.
We've got another sample here.
Okay,
and
there's another one?
it's a jingle, I think it was.
Yeah, this was a jingle.
Got the jingle cut? Go ahead, Suncast.
Tune in to CCBE. Hear the magic set you free. Voices blend in harmony from the minds who make TV. Central Canadian Broadcasting Engineer.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's. I wish we had more than an hour. We're gonna. I don't know if we can provide links for these to other people
I
or
think
not.
I can. Well, I think what we're going to do is we'll put them on the CCBE website
Yeah,
so people
yeah.
can check in on it. And I think a copy of my presentation will be on the CCBE. And I just recently did the same presentation at the SIMPTE Toronto TTC event. So
Okay.
if you maybe we can do a link to that.
Well, now here's on a serious note, and we got one more little clip to play for you in just a minute. So Suncast, get that one ready, please. I got a show coming up with Matt Aaron, who's an engineer in Nashville, and I'd like for you to be on there. And really, what I'm interested in is exploring. Engineers can be really creative
This is true.
and can take technologies and say, "Hey, I can apply that to what I do." Now, how would we apply artificial intelligence in whatever form it is? We might use it to solve other problems. I mean, engineers typically aren't going to write jingles or have jingles written. That's not really
Yeah,
in our
well,
bailiwick, but the creativity behind that.
the creativity behind that, and there's applications for GPT and like a capital E engineering kind of world.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
And yeah, we've been using it as a coach. I look at it as like a coach, as a mentor, as something I can bounce ideas off of, and they'll never get sick of me asking a question.
Right.
I look at some of this artificial intelligence as like the mentor I never had, and now I have 24/7
Yeah.
act, and they'll never get upset or irritated that I'm asking them a question. So I think there's tremendous potential in what's yet to come, but we don't know what it's going to be.
And I hear that AI can be very good at helping a programmer write code.
Well, yeah, for sure. So I've done stuff with like Arduinos where, I needed a GPI. Speaking of GPI, I needed a GPI
Yeah.
on a key on my console to press a certain keystroke on my keyboard to run a clip or whatever.
Right.
So you can use that to generate code, and it's one of the best software engineers I've ever met. Never met. Is it a thing I can meet? You see, these are like I don't even know how to talk about it yet.
All right, we got one more thing to play, and we're just going to use this as a tease because Anthony has agreed to come back on another show, probably in a couple weeks, where we will explore this idea in seriousness and in fun. Both.
Sure, I hope so. Yeah.
So Chris Tarr is not online with us right now, as far as I know. So I took inspiration from Anthony today and went to Suno.com, and I told Suno.com to write a song about Chris Tarr and his engineering efforts. So we're not going to hear the whole thing right now, but we're going to hear a minute of it. Go ahead, Suncast.
Chris Tarr travels near and far, building studios, fixing gear. Wisconsin roads under his wheels, radio folks give a cheer. Transmitters buzz, but not for long. Chris shows up, makes them strong. Family man, kids and wife, keeps them close, lives the life. Chris Tarr makes radio, spreading joy wherever he goes. Wisconsin knows his name, radio is his game.
All right. Anthemic. That's the word, anthemic. Anthony,
Always a pleasure.
pleasure
Be
to
well.
see you. We'll be in touch. We'll see you in a
see
couple
around.
weeks.
Be well.
All right. Hey, it's Kirk Harnack here at the CCBE, and I've got got a live spot to do right now, and then we're going to hear from, I guess. Oh, we got 3 more people waiting. Okay. We'll get Larry in here, and then Andrew, and then Mike. So it's all coming up. Our show's brought to you in part by Broadcasters General Store and the folks at Henry Engineering. Now, Henry Engineering, you know Henry Engineering, I know Henry Engineering, especially for the thing that makes the light come on in the studio, the Henry Super Relay, and then they have one that also controls LED lights. I want to tell you and make sure you know about the Henry Back UPS. The Back UPS, I love this box, and why? I know I've told the story before. I'm going to tell you again. So many pieces of equipment that we use in broadcasting have one power supply. Now, some things have 2. They're typically servers and some other pieces of gear that may have 2 power supplies. And so what do you do with a piece of gear with 2 power supplies? You plug one power supply into the UPS system, and you plug the other power supply into something else, maybe just a regular commercial power. Well, if you've got computers like I do, maybe an EAS box, maybe an audio processor, things that have got to stay online, but only have one power supply, what do you plug that into? Sometimes you need to service your UPS. Sometimes your UPS may not come online when you want it to. Well, plug it in to a power strip, and that power strip is plugged into the Henry Back UPS. What does it do? The Back UPS, it seems simple, but Hank Landsberg has engineered this thing to really work the way we need it to in broadcast. You plug the UPS into 2 different sources. One of them is going to be your UPS. The other one could be another UPS, or it could be just regular commercial power, something else that's going to be reliable. And if your UPS either fails, doesn't come on when it should, or you've got to change the batteries in it, you don't have to worry about rebooting all these different computers or other things that are only powered by the UPS. This Back UPS will switch over in just a few milliseconds to your backup power. And that may be the regular shore power, if you will, the regular commercial power. So I've got a whole rack of gear at one of my transmitter sites that only has one power supply per item. They're all important, but they only have one power supply. Some of our workstations and our EAS equipment in particular, we also have some Ethernet switches that I don't want to go down because they take 5 minutes to reboot. So they're all plugged into a back UPS or to a power strip that's on a back UPS. And if we lose a UPS, battery backup, which we have, this will switch right over to the commercial power and let you go ahead and do that work you need to do on the back UPS. I love this thing. It's really helpful. Saves, just once it saved me at least 20 minutes of futzing around with computers and rebooting them and all that stuff when I had to work on the UPS. Check this thing out. It's the Back UPS from Henry Engineering from Hank Landsberg, and he is selling his product through Broadcasters General Store at bgs.cc. That's bgs.cc. Check him out on the web. You can also call them, and that's one of the things that Broadcasters General Store does so well is they handle you on the phone. They answer the phone, and you can call them, get a quote, get something shipped to you right away at 352-622-7700. Thank you, Broadcasters General Store, for sponsoring This Week in Radio Tech. All right, my colleague Larry Schindel. Come on in, Larry. Hi.
Kirk. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
You are an expert. We both work at the same company.
Yes, we do.
But we have very different areas of expertise.
Yeah, I work in TV, or as I like to call it, the light side, because we come with pictures.
That's right. Well, it's just radio with pictures.
Yeah,
That's
true.
That's what us radio guys say sometimes.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard you give several talks, and one of them was today about television audio and multi-channel audio. What, considering that most of our audience is radio people, what do you think radio engineers should understand about what's happening in television audio?
Well, to start with, there's more than just a stereo pair with TV audio.
Yeah.
So 5.1's been around forever. Well,
Sure.
not forever, but 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Now that we're moving into what's called next gen audio, you can get into things like immersive audio, personalization of audio. So it makes it easy to support multiple languages or If you're a sports broadcaster, announcers from different teams along with that, and include um, possibly include what's called an AD service or assisted dialogue for the visually impaired.
So if I'm watching a football game and I'm a fan of Team A, and but the announcers seem to be on a channel provided by or covering for Team B, I may have a choice.
Yes, and this is all under the broadcaster's control, but certainly the way personalization works is it uses a combination of what we call channel-based audio, which is how we've worked with audio for decades,
Sure.
forever.
That's all I know is channel-based audio,
Right.
but I keep hearing this other word.
Object-based audio.
Okay.
And channel-based audio is really kind of an output-focused way of working with audio.
Right.
You mix to a stereo pair,
Right.
to left and right out, or to a 5-1. Object-based audio is really an input-centric way of dealing with audio. So each audio element can stand on its own. So a dialogue, an announcer is an individual object.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
in the movies, a helicopter flying over could be an individual object.
Okay.
But with this object comes metadata. So where the object is positioned in space,
Yeah.
its level, its movement, what type of audio is it? Is it dialogue? Is it an effects type audio? So there's all this metadata associated with the object.
You know, I heard you say that explanation today for the first time I've heard it, and that you said that in such a way that made it make sense to me. That the channel-based audio is kind of like the output. If I'm mixing a record or a TV show, I'm either mixing it in stereo or maybe 5.1, and I realize what the end user has.
Right.
Well, they may have a mono speaker, they may have stereo. It's quite likely they have a sound bar or a TV, or they may have 5.1, and I know what that output is. But you said the objects coming in, the sources.
Right. And if you think about where all this stuff started, it started in the cinema market.
Oh,
So if you go to like a Dolby Atmos cinema,
yeah.
you know, there can be 64 speakers in that cinema
Wow.
or 32. So in the cinema, they have, in a projection booth, they have renderers. So they know where each speaker is in the room and how to render that object to make it sound like where it's supposed to come from.
You mean when I'm watching a movie in a Dolby theater, that audio is being, as you said, rendered
Yeah.
at time of playback?
At time of playback in the projection booth.
Wow.
So
Now, do they know what they're doing up there, or does it come with instructions? Or
it's all in the metadata that's embedded
okay,
in the
okay.
audio. And in the cinema, they can deal with multi-track audio, like really multi-track audio,
yeah,
like up to 128 channels
yeah.
of raw audio that gets rendered in real time. Now, it's really hard to do that in the consumer's environment. So we simplify it. I mean, it's still a great experience to watch a 514, the Olympics in 514, or something like that.
Oh, sorry. I keep pushing Larry off camera. Thanks, son, guest. You know, if I think more engineers need to hear the things that you have to teach about this. One opportunity, I know the Indianapolis SBE is coming up. I forget the date exactly, but they're chapter 25, and you're joining me for that presentation, right? No, it's Ken Tankel that's joining me.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
okay.
But I need to get some links from you as to where people could hear some things that you've talked about.
Oh, sure, no problem. Yeah.
I'm sure we got some videos or something.
Yeah, and I believe I did one for Telos a while ago. It's probably on our website.
Yeah, we'll find that. Okay,
Yeah.
Larry, listen, thanks for making this easier to understand. What a complex topic, but you put a light bulb on in my head today.
Yeah, good.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for-
All right, hey, we've got Andrew is here, and what time is it here? Is it? Oh, we got a little bit of time. Come on in, Andrew. Good to see you, man. Andrew, you were here. We talked about from the CCBE different engineers and different vendors and different technology experts talking about the technologies that they're good at. I'm talking about something that I'm kind of good at tomorrow. Andrew Scaglione, right, was here, and we've talked to you before on the show, and your boss.
We have.
Yeah. But you're doing cloud radio, and I think you guys have just targeted this better and better and better. It seems like you have really good answers when people ask you questions. What should in a couple of minutes? What should people know about cloud-based radio?
Yeah, so the way we explain Radio Cloud is it's a radio playout and programming suite of tools, playout studio and programming suite, because at its core, it is a cloud-based and cloud-native automation platform, which basically means you access the whole platform in your web browser, and you can then run and manage your stations basically from your laptop or from your computer. Still a very small, but still a hardware footprint on site. Just the local playout box either can sit at the studio or directly out at the transmitter, and that serves a couple of purposes, but mainly to store forward your content up to 2 weeks, just
Right.
in case the internet goes down. It maintains the connection and keeps your station on the air. So it's just the whole way we're thinking about radio is trying to push it into the future and do it more as an as a service, a software product with a small hardware footprint instead of the usual capital expense that we're all used to of buying out however much equipment up front and servers, and then maybe having to replace those in 5 or 6 years.
I think when engineers like me first think about cloud radio, we think about something that I wouldn't say it's hands off, but it doesn't sound very interactive. And yet, intellectually, I know that's not the case. You can do live shows, multi-person live shows. You can behave on your station just as you do now. Sports, remotes from the car dealer or the parade or the Girl Scouts. Talk to me about what are some of the amazing things that we can do in the totally live world of cloud-based radio.
Yeah, so like you just said, Kirk, it's basically everything you're doing at your station now. It's just maybe a slightly different way to do it. So you can go do a remote in the community, go do a local high school sports broadcast, and do it all through your web browser. And you can still have a small mixer with you, but maybe you don't need something that's tying you back to the studio, like a separate piece of equipment,
Right.
because this is all in your browser tying to the playout box, either at the studio or the transmitter. So it lets you still do those same live events and live remotes. Maybe it's just a smaller hardware footprint. If you're just bringing your computer and a microphone, you can now still achieve those same results.
Wow.
And then it's everything else too. Your satellite stations that take satellite music and news and talk programming. We can connect those to our playout boxes and receive those cues in the cloud and those triggers and kind of control the switching between satellite boxes and between a radio cloud playout box. So it is really advancing very fast, and it's exciting.
If people want to get a demo of this tech, and for me, I've always dreamed that this kind of thing has got to be possible. You guys are actually executing and making possible something. I'm not saying I thought of it, not at all. I'm just saying that I thought this has got to be possible if somebody will just do it. Right. And my employer makes some pieces and parts to do this where it makes sense to either virtualize it locally or virtualize in the cloud. But you guys really have a suite of things put together to make a whole radio station work.
We do. And to be clear, I didn't think of it either. So
Yeah.
I'm not that smart.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do have a full suite. So there's an AI voice tracking tool. There's the live studio, the ability to broadcast live in the cloud. One thing that actually predates Radio Cloud even is a little product we call News Cloud, which is a news production and localization hub for news networks, essentially. And that's been around for about 15 years in our home market of Germany. But yeah, it lets you do everything you need to do, from building your playlists, managing your content, voice tracking, and then some of those additional tools as well to help with AI voice tracking. Localized syndication is something that we've gotten into as well. And yeah, just trying to make everyone's lives a little easier, saving you time, making you more efficient, and then maybe even in the long run, saving you a little money with the different model that we offer.
We're going to put a link in the show notes to radio.cloud.
Radio.
So people can see a demo, get a demo if they really want to look forward into this. And just know that what I've kind of realized today, anything that you can do in the studio, you can do in the cloud, feeding your sources. Are you using WebRTC or similar technology to do that?
WebRTC and Opus is
Yeah.
at the very least for the live part of it. That definitely helps. So it's almost like you're like a Zoom call, kind of like we're all used to, but you can see your guests and your co-hosts, and then it's a fully interactive virtual mixer as well. So it is cool, and happy to give a demo to anyone who's interested.
It's nice to know that cloud-based computing, you don't have too many power failures there. And
This is true.
5 of my radio stations were off the air for 8, 9, 10 hours because we had a huge storm and the generator didn't come on. Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen with your service.
It doesn't. No, it's nice because this is all running in a cloud environment. For us, it's AWS. There's other ones out there, but because of that, there's multiple without getting too technical, basically everything is running in multiple regions. And if something happens to one region, we can automatically fail it over within 5 milliseconds to another region. So you'll never have to worry about being off the air or power failures or anything.
I'll have to think if that's fast enough. I'm not sure. Andrew, thank you so much. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Kirk.
you very much.
Great to see you.
I'll see you tonight and tomorrow too.
Sounds good.
Hey, it's This Week in Radio Tech. Kirk Harnack here at the CCBE. And I'm about to talk about a couple of interesting services. And I've got an engineer here. Mike, come on in. Mike Ridley is here. We're going to talk to Mike after I talk about a couple things. Mike, I want to. In fact, you can be right here while I chat about this. Let me move back into frame here before I get called out again. One of our sponsors, Mike, is a company called Angry Audio.
Yes.
And this is Mike Dosh's company. Mike's a personal friend of mine. Mike was my boss for a few years.
Okay.
Good guy to work for, but he's brilliant at designing products that work exceptionally well and last a long time and fit the exact need of what a broadcaster needs. You know, Mike started out designing guitar pedals, and then he designed audio consoles with PR&E, so you know he's got some good chops there. And then he designed some consoles at Telos Alliance. Well, now Mike's company is called Angry Audio. They make all kinds of things, and one of them is the Rave audio console. Now, this is a small audio console. It's I'm not sure diminutive is the right word, but we're gonna play a little jingle here, and I'm going to talk over it. The Rave console is an analog console. It's not live wire. It's not audio over IP. It's an analog console. Look at how beautiful it is. It's got easy connectors for your mics. It's got Studio Hub RJ45 connectors for your line in and your line level out. It's got, of course, a telephone bus in it. It's got program 1 and 2 and a phone bus. Terrific monitoring options there. And the monitor is controlled by a linear slide fader. That's kind of cool. And so is your headphone control far over on the right there. Built-in mic preamps, 4 of those. It is heavy duty. It's rugged. And I saw this thing for the first time a year ago. They've been shipping now for a few months. And I just love this console. This is a great podcasting console. Good for a small radio station, maybe an LPFM, maybe a prod room. You know, if you don't need to if you have a console that doesn't need to be in the audio over IP world, I just love this thing. And you know, the audio specs on this are just absolutely brilliant. They are top quality. Check it out. The Rave audio console now shipping from Angry Audio at angryaudio.com. Your favorite dealer sells it. And if they don't, get mad or get angry from Angry Audio. Also, Jim, I'm going to change gears here and talk for a minute about Max Connect. Max Connect Wireless. We'll talk about the wireless division here for a second. Max Connect Wireless, they don't make the cellular waves. They don't even make the 4G LTE modems that you get. What they have done is they have made agreements with each of the cell carriers to give their customers, that would be you and me, engineers at radio stations, to give them prioritized high-speed internet data that is, it's prioritized. You could be in a stadium with 60,000 people on their cell phones, all doing their Insta upgrades, their Insta updates, all on TikTok or whatever they're doing. And you, the radio station, still have bandwidth available to you. It's reserved. You get reserved channels and you get plenty of data, plenty of bandwidth to do audio remotes. You can even do video remotes. Typically, you get somewhere between 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 megabits per second. We've done this show with Max Connect Wireless before. Certainly, audio is very reliable through it, and plenty of companies, plenty of broadcasters use Max Connect when they go out and do remotes. If you're at a stadium, if you're at a place where a lot of people are, and probably there are a lot of people around when you're doing this live remote, Max Connect makes this not only possible, but it makes it reliable. We've also done national SBE meetings where the Wi-Fi and other carriers' normal service didn't work, but Max Connect worked fine. stations are also finding use for Max Connect at their transmitter sites, so they can have their remote cameras, for example, or remote controls. We even use Max Connect at one of my stations when our fiber was 6 weeks late getting installed. We were on Max Connect to get everything up and running for the first couple of weeks until our fiber got installed. Check it out from maxconnect.com. I know it's spelled funny, MAXXKONNECT, maxconnect.com. Links in the show notes. Thanks, Max Connect, for sponsoring This Week in Radio Tech. All right, in our final few minutes here, we're talking to Mike Ridley. Mike, you and I, did we meet for the first time today?
Yes, we did.
Well, thanks for introducing yourself. Mike, tell me about your engineering career.
Well, I started off back in high school.
Oh, my God.
That goes back to 1973.
Okay.
So it's been like 51 years I've been doing this. It all started at a little radio station in Welland called See How Radio.
In Welland?
Ontario.
Welland, Ontario. All right.
My grandmother's next door neighbor was the engineer of the radio station. So at the age of 5, I was taken through the station and shown it. And I said, I want a job like this when I grow up.
Uh-huh.
Lo and behold, straight out of high school, straight into it. And I've been in the broadcast industry and been in avionics, ran my own business for 8 years. But you keep coming back to it for some unknown reason. Every time somebody says, I got a job for you in radio, boom, I'm there. It happens.
Now, it's great to share pictures. And we just met a couple, 3 hours ago.
Yes.
And you have shown, Mike has shown me pictures of his home studio. And this is just a hobby studio.
Yeah.
And what I know about Mike now is that if you're the kind of engineer that builds that kind of home studio, you must have been a heck of an engineer when you were full time.
Oh, yeah.
Now, give us a little, maybe we'll have Mike on another show and we'll share pictures. But tell me about some of the gear you have in your studio.
Yes, I do have Telos equipment. I got an Omnia 3.
Okay.
I've got the 2x12, and I've got the Toolvox mic processor.
Oh my goodness, I've got one of those too.
And I found that to be one of the nicest mic processors. It actually failed on me about 4 months ago, and I had to send it back in for a new front panel. They still had parts for it, which I was really surprised.
Well, it's probably 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that I can go into it with a computer and do all of my presets on it. And then I can preset it for anybody else that comes into the studio. You just have to dial it up, select what you want, hit the take button, and it's there. So anybody that's voice tracking in my studio or on the air can have full control of their mic processor.
Now, you have a beautiful console in there, and I'm not familiar with it. Tell me about it.
It's an old Ward-Beck console. It's Canadian made. Yeah. One of the Renaissance series, Renaissance 2. And this was being thrown out from another company. They said, well, we're no longer using this. We're all updating to the new modern stuff. Says, okay, fine. Well, I've got the Jeep, open up the back door, in it goes. And that's how I acquired most of my equipment. I think every engineer, I know another engineer has got, I think about 4 storage lockers full of equipment, just like me. So we gather it, we repurpose it. I've so far put together the Lions Club in Chippewa. We've got an internet radio station down there.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So the old control board that was at See How, was at Giant, is now on the air down there.
On the one hand, you've got some broadcast style turntables. Tell me about what's in the studio.
They're just the SP10 and SP25 from Techniques.
Yeah.
They're good. I've got some McCurdy stuff as well, the 16-inch McCurdy's from, that goes back to about the 50s for that. But
you also showed me pictures of consumer turntables, and that was
yes, my Girard 301, which if anybody looks that one up on the web, you'll find it's one of the units that's sought after for the quality of it. So that's sort of like a little bit of a fine-tuned system at home as the old Girard 301.
Maybe you at home remember a turntable that you had around your house as a child. I had 2 different turntables. I had one of those stereo systems that you folded open like this, and the speakers stayed vertical and the turntable folded down. And we played records from Disney on that when I was a kid. But my dad had a Girard turntable, and he had a Night Kit amplifier. He didn't build it; somebody else built it for him. And I listened to Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band and Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture. What a selection on that Girard turntable.
Yeah. Oh, they're great turntables, made in England, and parts are still available for some of the 301s and the 401s.
Yeah.
You can find them online.
Yeah.
So that's the best thing for those. and also for tape recorders. Like I've got Studer in the studio, and I just love it. So I've got Studer, Ampex, and some Sonys, consumer Sonys that people said, they don't work, they're off speed, we're getting rid of them. Do you want them? Sure, I do. And it's usually a capacitor that fails on the motor.
Yeah.
Replace that, and things back up on speed, clean the heads, and away you go.
Now, you showed me a picture of a beautiful Revox that you had, as a Studer that you had fixed.
67.
Okay, now knowing what you know now about what's possible with digital audio and CDs or other digital recording media and techniques, how do you feel about going back to a reel-to-reel? What nostalgia might there be for you, or what quality might be there?
Something you can do with a reel-to-reel you can't do with digital is you can saturate the tape, and it starts to go into sort of that nice, warm, mushy sort of sound. You try to do that with digital, and all you get is clipping everywhere, and you just can't do it. It just doesn't have the same warmth that analog tape does. So if you really want something good, that's why a lot of studios that I've known recently are going back to analog tape.
Wow. Well, there's a studio in Nashville where I live. It's called Welcome to 1979.
Right.
And they will record you direct to 24 track, or they will record your performance direct to vinyl.
Yes.
Or to disc. To
Right
the
to disc,
lathe.
right.
Yeah.
One of my friends who had a recording studio in Niagara Falls, his control board wound up in Nashville.
Oh my gosh.
So that might be where it wound up. So who knows?
I forgot what brand that is there.
I'm not really sure which one it was.
You know, I need to do a show from there. You'd love to come on down and see this show. This recording studio, Welcome to 1979. There's a business also in there called Mara Machines.
Right.
MARA, Mara Machines.
Yes.
They rebuild
MCI tape machines.
Exactly. They rebuild MCI tape machines. And they get, I mean, their customers are like Rod Stewart,
Right.
Other artists will buy one.
I've got a friend in Niagara Falls who has the MCI 16 track, as well as a couple of the stereo MCIs.
Mike, we've got a minute left, and that's it.
Okay,
and I'll put you on the spot here. With a career in broadcast engineering, and then your continued hobby that you do now,
right.
Is there some advice that you'd like to hand out to people who are still engineering or thinking about it?
Would be nice is to find younger people that want to get involved in it. We tried at the high school level to get students to get involved in electronics, the broadcast end of it. Everybody wants to be an on-air star. They don't want to get their hands dirty. They don't want to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning when the transmitter goes off the air. That just doesn't seem to appease them. So, we'll just sit here and play with our computers. No, you got to get out. You got to get in the field. You got to be able to put an XLR connector together. You got to be able to put the piping together for a transmitter into the antenna switch. You've got to be able to handle all that. You got to know what you're doing, not just what the computers can tell you.
And you know what? If you develop skills that apply to radio engineering, I really believe you can apply that to other places as well, whether it's recording or television or cellular industry, IT, anything.
Yep. Just don't go into the TV repair business anymore.
No.
Been there, done that.
Mike, don't leave. We got a little task to take care of. Okay. I'm Kirk Harnack. We're out of time. I've had a good time here at the CCBE. And maybe, hey, if it's appropriate for you to sign up to come next year, it'd be very well worth your time. I want to thank Suncast for being at the controls of this show, being our producer. Thanks, Suncast, very much. And we got to go. We'll see you next week on This Week in Radio Tech.